Hi, everyone who is not my husband and kids. I am happy to be sharing this with you today. The second video for Yoga at the Library, which again is different than what I usually do at the library because I feel different. Everything's different. I'm trying to live in tune. So today's theme is Ubuntu. It's an African philosophy that means I am because we are. I am because you are. We've talked about this at the library before. A person is not a person without other people. And I guess it comes from a Zulu word that means our shared humanity. So I'll be sharing quotes from 3 books today that are available from the Rutland Library. The first one is a really good book that was just published. So it's called The Lessons of Ubuntu, How an African Philosophy Can Inspire Racial Healing in America by Mark Mathabane. He also has a really good biography. And then I have The Biology of Belief, Unleashing the Power of Consciousness, Matter, and Miracles by Bruce Lipton, and Complications, A Surgeon's Notes on an Imperfect Science by Atul Gawande. So I'm sharing these books. I think there's a common thread throughout them of how everything is connected to everything. We are all connected to each other, to nature. I think we already know that, but what's happening now in the world, this pandemic, is showing us that in a really kind of tangible way. We're all feeling it. So I'll just start right now with my first quote, and it's from Mark Mathabane, and he quotes Archbishop Desmond Tutu. He says, he explained Ubuntu as the essence of being human. And he says, Ubuntu speaks particularly about the fact that you can't exist as a human being in isolation. It speaks about our interconnectedness. We think of ourselves far too frequently as just individuals, separated from one another, whereas you are connected and what you do affects the whole world. When you do well, it spreads out. It is for the whole of humanity. So, yeah, this class is just about how everything's connected, in our body, out of our body. So I'm going to try to kind of feel our connective tissue a little bit and just hopefully feel a little better after. I'll have some links underneath this video with local free resources and maybe some expansions on what I'm talking about. Maybe I'll have the books under there this time and some other things I refer to. And if any of you have anything you'd like to share, please add that too. Okay, so I'm gonna get started. So today we're going to start in a different position. We're going to start seated without a blanket or anything under us, and extend your legs just straight out. Your feet can be about hip width apart, maybe rock side to side to find a balanced position on your sits bones, and then lean back on your hands. So your fingertips are pointing away from the body, and your weight's going back on your hands. So from here, we're going to do something like cat and cow. We're just going to tilt the pelvis. You feel your sits bones kind of come into the floor. Belly button comes forward. And this carries up the spine. So your gaze might come up. And then we'll just round a little bit. So a little flexion and extension. But we don't want to bend too much. So see how that feels on the back line of your legs. So your hamstrings are attached to your sits bones on the bottom. Those pointy things on the bottom. And then so they touch there, and then to the bottom part of your leg, tibia and fibula. So We're just rocking back and forth, and your whole leg, your toes are probably pointing and pulling away. Just really slow, not straining, not going too far. Just bringing our awareness to the sensations we're feeling in our hamstrings and everything around that. So the whole theme of today is everything's connected. So we'll just kind of bring our awareness to our connective tissue today. So nothing is separate in our body. Yes, we can talk about isolating the hamstrings, which we'll do a little bit today, but we have fascia everywhere. It is the scaffolding in our body, and it wraps around our muscles, and then it's really everywhere. It's like saran wrap that permeates everything. So then there are bands that run, let's just, for today, we'll think about the superficial band that runs from the bottom of the feet, up the back of the legs, up the back to our skull. So let's think about this move we're doing now. Where are you feeling this? And if you took a forward fold and your legs were straight, you'd be stretching that whole back line. If you put a bend in the knees, you kind of take it out of that whole back line and relieve some pressure, maybe on your back or where you've had an injury, or your fascia could be bound up. So movement, hydration, it's all really good to keep the fascia healthy. So everything is connected in the body and everywhere. Okay, that's enough of that. That's just to bring our awareness to where we felt that. Did you feel it more in your upper hamstrings, near your sits bones, on one side, lower in your calves, bottom of your feet? Okay, so let's find our way to a seated position. You can sit on a blanket in Sukhasana or cross legs pose if that's available. Any pose that feels good to you will work. But again, we're trying it, well, we weren't before we were rocking back and forth. We're going to find our stable middle, our stable base to rise out of on our pelvis. And now let's just start bringing awareness to the breath. Inhaling completely and exhaling completely. No rush. Option to take Vibhara Mudra today. And that is the gesture of Shiva's fearsome aspect for experiencing unity. So we'll lie the left hand in our lap with the palm up, and then just place the right hand right on top of it. Maybe the tips of the thumbs gently touch. So it's a really soft position for the hands. They're just relaxing in your lap somewhere. Shoulders are relaxed, back is naturally aligned. Just trying to even out a nice deep breath pattern. The mantra associated with this mudra is resting in inner silence and deep peace. All sense of separation is released. Option now to layer on an Ujjayi breath. So we're only breathing through our nostrils. Maybe every exhalation is accompanied with the sound of distant ocean waves, low vibration in the throat. When you're ready, keep the hands where they are, release them to your thighs or knees or calves. And we'll just dip the chin towards the chest, wherever feels good for you. And just gently take one ear to shoulder. Drop the chin through center, ear to other shoulder. So it's a semicircle. We're only looking down. Still breathing. That's the most important part of all this. Let's do one more in each direction. Noticing what's happening in your jaw, separating your teeth, relaxing as much as possible. Okay, we'll come back to center. Everything's aligned, so your chin is tall, crown of the head is tall. We're going to extend the fingertips to reach to the sides of our body and touch the floor. Very tall, connected to the earth. We're rising tall through the crown of the head. Bring your awareness to your left fingertips. Keep your pelvis even as we reach the right palm towards the sky. And then take a side bend however that works for you. Take a few breaths here. And your neck can be comfortable. You can look up, down, both, right in front of you. You can always back off a pose. Make it perfect for you today. If you find that you're losing your deep, even breath, that's a hint that you need to back off the pose a little bit. Keep the deep, even breath. Next time you're going to inhale, let's reach tall through our center body, crown of the head. As you exhale, arm releases, fingertips come to the mat. Same thing, we're grounded through our center, and we'll reach the left arm up. Find your perfect side opener. Gaze can go anywhere. A few breaths here. Noticing whatever sensations you notice. When you're ready, we'll inhale through center and release the arm. From here, we'll bring the hands to the thighs or knees and we'll take some Sufi circles. So we're inhaling, the heart comes forward, and we're circling the rib cage above the pelvis in one direction. I like to inhale as my heart comes forward, exhale as my rib cage comes back. I'm kind of scooping the belly. And try to make this an even circle, as though you're in a glass and you're trying to touch your rib cage to every side of the glass. So this could be really tiny. And here's where maybe you feel everything's connected in your body. Maybe you feel this move everywhere as you navigate the different parts of the circle. Maybe you feel it shooting down to your knee on one side where maybe your hips tight. Let's reverse that. So keep it small if you're feeling discomfort in the knees. Getting a rhythm where you can inhale coming forward. Exhale, circling back. One more. And we'll come to center. And we'll just take a few shoulder rolls. Bring the shoulders up towards the ears, back and down. Let's do 3. So here's 2. One more. And then we'll let the fingertips come to the mat again. So we're really open throughout the torso, crown of the head is lifted. We're stable and centered. And then with a long neck, we're going to take the right ear to the right shoulder. So we're opening the left side of the neck. Just notice where you feel that. Soften the jaw, soften the brows. And if interested, gently nod yes, really slowly, seeing if that's available today. So I'm just going to keep that or come to stillness and deepen the pose by reaching the heel of the hand, the palm of the hand towards the mat. It's going to stretch through the shoulder instead of forcing the neck into a weird position. Center of the body is centered and tall. We're not leaning the whole body. It's not another side body opener. When you're ready, we'll reach tall through the crown of the head, evening out the neck again. And when you're ready, we'll find something like that on the other side. So the left ear comes towards the left shoulder. Stay here, or if it's available, nod gently. come to stillness or stay with the nod. If interested to deepen the pose, we'll pull the heel of the hand away, which kind of tugs the shoulder down. Just notice what that feels like if you're interested. Back off if necessary. Notice what's happening in the jaw. When you're ready, we'll release that. Let's take another shoulder roll. Shoulders come all the way up, back, and down. One more time. And then we'll bring the hands to prayer at heart. This is Anjali Mudra. Another gesture affirming our unity. It's kind of a greeting, a gesture of reverence for everyone you meet. And now's a chance to set an intention for today's practice or forever. Could be kind of a meta thing. May all living beings be well. When you're ready, we'll make our way to our backs. Start by pulling the knees into the chest, maybe rocking side to side to find some balance and length. So option to hold underneath the thighs if deep knee flexion is not available, or you can hold your shins and tug the knees in, whatever works. We're never forcing. And then we're going to bring both hands to the right leg, extend the left leg towards the sky, point and flex the foot, noticing how that feels along the front and back of the body. Where are you feeling it? Everywhere? Mostly in one spot? And then we'll switch sides. The left knee comes in, the right leg extends, and point and flex the foot a few times. And then we'll bring the right knee in. Both feet come to the mat, so the knees are standing. And we'll go back to the left leg, extend that towards the sky. Let's get the thigh perpendicular to the floor and just see what's a nice stretch for you. Put a flex in the foot, so you're reaching with the heel, the toes curled towards you. And then we'll lead with the heel, letting the leg come long and rest on the mat. So option to keep your right knee standing, or if your low back is okay with it, you can pull the right knee in, holding under the thigh or the shin. Few breaths here, relaxing the shoulder, relaxing the jaw, relaxing the brow. Finding the breath. And we'll release the grip on the leg. So our knee's still bent, but it kind of floats away, and we're lightly gripping the thigh on either side, and we'll just take little circles in one direction with the leg, kind of getting into the hip joint, moving the femur in the hip socket, and then reverse that. These can be teeny tiny, it's up to you. Just noticing what you feel and how far you feel this away from the hip. Reverse again if interested. And then we're going to line everything back up, bring the knee to stand again, and then externally rotate that knee. So the sole of the foot will be against maybe the inner thigh or the calf. We're doing a reclined tree. So I want to do this because we'll be taking a tree standing, and just notice what happens when your knee falls out to the side. Does your whole left side lift? Is there air and space underneath your back, left side hip, pelvis? So we don't want to take the whole left side with us. When we externally rotate this knee, we want to keep the pelvis rooted and even. So take a block or pillow or something to help prop up that knee if you have one. Or use your hand, use your left hand to hold the left hip down. maybe your right hand to support this leg. But this is really important when we stand in tree, because if you let your leg go, you can see that your whole supporting leg, if you're tight and if you're not ready for this external rotation, is going to come with it. So we can force the leg to look really perfect, okay? When you're standing in tree, we can look like we have this, our knee in the same plane as our body, a lot of external rotation. But we can be putting a lot of twists in our knee, our supporting knee that we're standing on, our ankle, our sacrum and low back. We can have all these little torsions and strains happening. So it's best to just kind of keep all of this nicely aligned as we gradually open. So that knee when we're standing can be anywhere. Okay, enough of that. Let's bring the knee back up towards the sky and back in to Ardha Uttanasana. Half wind relieving pose, right knee in, left leg long. And when you're ready, we'll bring both knees to standing. So feet come to the floor, knees are bent. And we'll do something like that on the other side. So we'll extend the right leg up, point and flex the foot. And then we'll extend through a flex foot and bring that leg all the way down to rest on the mat. Option to stay with one knee bent and the foot on the floor, or to pull the knee in towards the belly, chest, hold under the thigh, hold the shin, and we'll take a few breaths here. When you're ready, release your grip on your knee. Fingertips are on the sides of the thigh. We're just going to circle the knee. Little tiny circles or whatever works for you. Just noticing whatever you notice. And reverse that. Always listening to your body and adjusting as your body needs. Maybe go again in the other direction one time. And then when ready, we'll bring that knee to standing again. Sole of the foot comes in towards the right leg, thigh, calf. And then we just let the knee roll out in external rotation. So maybe you notice one side is different than the other, but if that right hip, that right pelvis is lifting, try to hold it down, or maybe support the leg that's hanging in space. Take a few breaths here. And in this position, let's line up the leg that's long, so your right toes are pointing towards the ceiling, as though you were doing tree pose standing. And just for fun, on this side, let's reach the arms overhead in a rainbow. And just notice whatever you notice in your belly, low back. So you can see how this would put another element when standing, lifting arms overhead. If you have tight connective tissue or muscles or everything in the front, chest, or anywhere in the front body, it might put a lot of excess curve in your low back, which could put too much pressure on the discs. So maybe even here, find a spot where your arms are slightly in front of you, where your low back feels best. And that might be where you reach your arms when standing. Okay, let's bring the arms back down. You can use your hand to guide your knee back up, and we'll pull the knee back in one more time. Ardha Uttanasana, half wind relieving pose. Left knee in, right leg long. Take a breath or two here. And when you're ready, we'll pull the right knee in, rock side to side. Roll on to one side, use your top arm, hand to support you on your way to seated. Okay, so we're going to come back to that first position we're in, where we're seated with legs long. Kind of like staff pose, but we're not trying to use the abs too much. We're letting the hands come behind us and we're supporting the upper body. So you're leaning back slightly. And then we're going to do that kind of cat and cow where we're tilting the pelvis, belly button comes forward, Just noticing if our hamstrings or back body from those hip points, sit bones down to our feet feels different. And we're not forcing. And I can put a link underneath this practice to show where I found this move. It's part of a bigger picture. Okay, just trying to really get a sense of where you're tight in this move or feeling restrictions, and not trying to sort of go past your limits. Stay within what's comfortable. Let's take one more. Letting everything follow, so the gaze probably comes up as the back arcs. And release. Okay, so that was just getting us a little more in tune. We're going to take Janu Shirsasana. So I'm going to sit on a little folded up blanket. I'm going to bring my right leg in a bent position, external rotation, just like reclined tree. My left leg is extending long, toes pointed towards the sky. And again, if you have tight hips or this bothers the knee, use a block or something to support the knee that's in the air and bent out to the side. So the sole of the foot is either against the left inner thigh or pulled in towards the groin. Try to find balance on your sits bones, and we're going to fold forward, trying to avoid rounding the low back too much. So maybe you're folding between your knees, maybe you're folding over the extended leg if your low back and sacrum is okay with that. Either way, we're just hinging at the hips, kind of leading with the heart, so we're not stressing the low back and rounding the low back too much. And just, again, allowing whatever is to be your guide. So maybe you're really tall and you're hinging a ½ an inch. If that's where you feel the perfect stretch, that's where you stay. So we're just getting some length and opening in the inner thigh and the whole back leg. Keeping the toes flexed or pointed towards the sky. So I think this is a nice spot to share another quote from Lessons of Ubuntu. So the author actually quotes President Barack Obama at Nelson Mandela's funeral. This is what he said about Nelson Mandela. There's a word in South Africa, Ubuntu, a word that captures Mandela's greatest gift, his recognition that we are all bound together in ways that are invisible to the eye, that there's a oneness to humanity, that we achieve ourselves by sharing ourselves with others and caring for those around us. When you're ready, we'll come back to that position with legs extended. So remove the blanket if you're using one under your hips. Support yourself on your heels of your hands, or make fists if you need to. And now we're going to roll back and forth on the sits bones. Inhaling, lifting the belly button forward, heart lifts, maybe your gaze comes up. Reversing and just noticing if one leg feels a little more open than the other after we just did the previous move. Let's take one more opening and release. And we'll take Janu Shirsasana on the other side. I'm sitting back up on my folded up blanket. The right leg comes out straight, toes pointing towards the sky. Left foot pulls in, so the left knee is bent in external rotation. Use a block if you need to support. Find a balanced position on your sits bones so they're not kind of curled under, so your pelvis is not spilling back and low back rounded. So you're lifting really tall and then hinging forward. Maybe that's 1 inch, maybe your belly is on the floor. No, I'm not there. And then just notice what you want, or notice what you notice. Sometimes we do only notice what we want. So we're hinging either between the legs or over the extended leg. Taking nice deep breaths, backing off as needed. Here's another chance for me to throw in a quote. This one is from Atul Gawande in Complications. He says, "One wants to know whether in the end her troubles were physical or psychological. But it is a question as impossible to answer as whether a blush is physical or mental, or for that matter, whether a person is. Everyone is both, inseparable even by a surgeon's blade." Oh, he's good. Let's take one more breath here. And we're going back to that extended leg position to try it out again and see if we notice anything. Okay, so feet are wherever hip width, maybe wider or closer. We're just going to roll the pelvis and letting this move extend throughout our body. Inhaling, belly comes forward. Just noticing that whole back line from your pelvis down. Maybe noticing your hamstrings where they attach to your sits bones. That's where I'm noticing it the most. Maybe you're feeling your knees pop up, so the bottom of your hamstrings are pulling. Let's take one more cat and cow here. Then we'll make our way to standing. Take your time. Let's find our mountain feet. Rock back and forth from the balls of the feet to the heels. Let's inhale, the arms circle out and up. Maybe your gaze stays level, maybe you look up. Exhale, arms to the sides in mountain. Next time we're going to add a fold. Inhale, reach tall. Bend your knees as much as you need to, leading with the heart. Taking a beautiful forward fold, letting the head go once you get there. So maybe you're looking at right above your toes or your toes. See if you can tuck your chin and look at your thighs and just see how that feels along the whole back line. See if you can strain your legs, but we're not forcing. Take another breath here. When you're ready, we're going to put a bend in the knees, sit the hips back, slide the hands to the front of the thighs, engage the pelvic floor and low belly, and start kind of like a cobra, coming up, pushing the floor away, using the muscular action in your bottom half to lift the top half. Inhale, the arms circle up. Exhale, hands to heart. And then arms come to the sides in mountain. From here, we're going to do kind of a floaty move, a twist, but I never want to tell anyone to plant their heels, but this is leading up to our tree. So let's bring the right hand to the heart and the left arm out to the side. Palm is in line with your body, and then it's up to how much your back wants to twist, to how far back your palm comes behind your body. We're going to inhale here, look out at your left hand. Exhale as the left hand comes in towards the heart and the right hand extends to the other side, kind of same thing. And then inhale as the right arm bends, hand comes into heart, left hand extends. We follow with our eyes. Exhale, switch. So go back and forth, inhaling, exhaling, and just noticing how this feels in your body, the twist with your feet planted. So don't overdo the twist. Notice if you're feeling this traveling to your low back, maybe even down your legs. And it's really gentle. We're not forcing. It's just kind of a wavy, fluid movement to move with our breath. We're not speeding up. Let's do one more in each direction. both come to the heart, and then find a nice stable position for your feet to send down roots to get into tree. So I'm going to start with my left foot planted, and then so many options for that right leg. So we already talked about not forcing the knee into external rotation, because so much twisting or weird navigating can happen in the knees, hips, ankle, low back to get that knee looking great, like it's in the right spot, whatever that is. So maybe you're kickstanding your toes and the knee's angling forward. Maybe your foot's on your calf, or maybe it's on your inner thigh, but it's never on your knee area. It could really mess stuff up. So find your base. Hands can be at the heart. If interested, or if it's available, arms can float up into branches. Maybe put hands in fists as you float up. It's springtime, so maybe your fingers open up, little buds reaching towards the sun. Maybe visualize your branches extending up, and then the branches in your lungs coming down, like an inverse picture of a tree. It's pretty amazing. That kind of inverse relationship we have with trees. We breathe in what they give out. They breathe in what we give out. All connected. When you're ready, let your hands come back to your heart. Release wherever your foot was, back to mountain. And we'll find something like that on the other side. So get your nice balanced weight on your right foot, and find whatever position works for this left leg, that there's integrity in every other part of your body. That you're finding the strength and stabilizing muscles and all these other parts. Hands can stay at heart. You can reach your fists up, fingers open into blooming buds. Breathing in and breathing out. 2 more breaths here. We'll slowly bring the hands back to heart, and then release the foot. And then bring your feet about hip width, maybe slightly wider. Put a little bend in the knees, sitting the pelvis down and back slightly. Kind of like that Tai Chi Qigong feel. We're going to take a few rounds of a Qigong breath work for stress and anxiety. So we're just going to inhale, the arms reach out, and your body lifts. So your legs straighten a little bit, never lock the knees. And then exhale, palms kind of face down. And your front body, just grounding your energy right in front of you, really slowly. Do that 2 more times. So we inhale, arms reach out and up. Exhale, kind of sitting the tailbone back and down ever so slightly, grounding. Inhale, arms open. We get really light. And exhale, maybe feeling energy in front of your body, under your palms. We'll come back to mountain, make our way down to table. So let's just take 1 round of cat and cow. Fingertips are spread wide. You're set up with your knees under your hips, your wrists somewhere under your shoulders. Inhale, heart shines forward, tailbone lifts, head follows your neck. We're not forcing the head anywhere. Exhale, tailbone pulls away from crown of the head, belly scoops up and in. And we'll come to neutral table. We're going to come into a lunge with the right foot forward. Left leg long. I lift my blocks. Hold this here for a few breaths. You want your, again, wrist somewhere under your shoulders. Your right knee is over your ankle. Back leg is long. Option is stay here. We're going to try to get into both legs, the front and back. a little more of that back line of the front leg by bringing the left knee down. Option to keep the toes curled under or bring the top of the foot to the mat, whatever feels more stable to you. And then you can take your blocks with you if you have them. We're going to hinge the hips back and bring your right toes up, straightening the right front leg. So you might have to kind of wiggle your leg out in front of you. Bring your blocks as close to your body as you need to. We're trying to avoid rounding the low back here. Again, we're having that hinging action. So the focus is on kind of from the sits bones down again. But everything's connected. So keep your heart, maybe you're really tall, getting their perfect stretch, or maybe you're folded and your hands are really close to your foot, whatever works. Just make sure your two front hip points are in line. Sometimes this right foot is really forward and the right hip is way in front of your left hip, so you can kind of pull that back. One more breath here. And we'll come back into our lunge. Bring our blocks forward. Curl the back toes under the left leg. Lift the left knee. We'll hold it here for a breath. And we'll come through table. So option here, we'll all do one or two cat and cows. Inhaling, arcing the spine, exhaling, rounding. But if downward facing dog is something that's in your practice, you can do that for a couple breaths. And if it's not, stay here, rolling through cat and cow. So if you're choosing downward facing dog, maybe pedal the knees and just notice that whole back line lengthening. If you can straighten the legs, but we're not forcing. One more breath here. We'll come back to table. Let's all join in for one cat and cow. And then we'll take a lunge on the other side. So the left foot comes forward, the right leg is back. Left knee is over the ankle. Hands are somewhere under the shoulders. Nice long body. A few breaths here. And then when you're ready, the right knee comes down to the mat. Option to keep the toes curled under, top of the foot comes to the mat. And then gently, no rush to make your way to Hanukkah runner stretch. Taking the blocks with you, staying as tall as you need to. So we are hinging at the hips, we're not rounding the back. So the heart kind of has a lifted feel. Notice your hip points, your front hip, so draw the left front hip back if that's available. One more breath here. We'll make our way back to the lunge. So the knees down, curl the back toes under the right foot, lift the back leg. So we have a long back leg, we're back in our lunge. We'll take a breath here. Now we'll see how downward facing dog feels, maybe, or cat and cow. So either way, let's take a cat and cow to warm up. And then if you're staying here, you'll take a few more rounds. And if you'd like to take downward facing dog, because you know how to do that and it's in your practice, go for it. See if all of this opening in the back legs has helped the whole back line open or lengthened. Let's just take one more breath. make our way back to table. And then from here, let's come to standing on the knees. Might have been a lot for the wrists. You can shake out the wrists. And here we can notice how the low back feels. So we're gonna head towards kind of a standing on the knees cat and cow, but a little different. So we're gonna bring the palms out to our sides with extended arms. The arms don't have to lock at the elbow, so a little bend is fine. And then depending on your low back and neck, maybe you keep your chin where it is and your gaze level. And you really focus on keeping your low ribs and front hip points where they are. So maybe engage your abs a little to knit the ribs down to prevent a giant lift of the ribs as you bring your arms back, which could compress your low back a little. So make this perfect for you. So you can keep your spine pretty much where it is and just bring your palms back and notice all that connection, all the connections you can feel. Maybe from your pecs, your chest, through your shoulder, down your bicep, to your fingers maybe, thumb. And then we'll go back and forth with some breaths. So if available, lift the heart and get a mini back bend, open the chin. If available, doesn't have to be much. And then exhale, stack the arms, give yourself a hug, rounding through the upper back, really separating the shoulder blades, tucking the chin if that's okay. So keep this high in the back. Avoid the low back rounding too much. I'm gonna do that again. Inhaling to wherever. Maybe you're just kind of neutral, or maybe you're getting a back bend. And then stack your arms the opposite way. We'll do that one more time in each direction. Inhaling, opening across the front body. Exhaling, giving yourself a hug. Okay. And we're going to come to our bellies just for a couple breaths, just to release. So make your way all the way to your belly. Make a pillow for your forehead with the back of your hands. And you're going to lower down, put a bend in the knees when ready, and windshield wipe your calves side to side, really slowly and gently. Nowhere to go, maybe a couple inches to each side. Noticing how that feels. Maybe on the front of your thighs, maybe right in front of your pelvis, maybe all the way up to your ribs. So keep this going, or release your legs down. If you choose to release your legs down, line them up. They might have splayed apart, so let them extend out of your hips. And take a few breaths just doing nothing, if you're comfortable here. If you're not comfortable lying flat on your belly, you can roll over to your back. We'll all meet there in a breath or two. Okay, when you're ready, take your time, either coming to seated to make your way to your back, or maybe you're capable of just rolling over, whatever feels best. We're all different. We have a few more moves before Shavasana, just a couple. So once on your back, bring your knees into your chest, maybe rock side to side. And again, you're holding onto your thighs or your shins, whatever works for you. Let's bring the feet to the mat, and then toe heel the feet to the outer edges of the mat, and just gently windshield wipe. Nowhere to go. So maybe you move 2 inches, depending on how much rotation your spine, really, really low back is into. Okay. So from here, walk your feet back in. Maybe lift your pelvis to find your perfect spot for to get an even base and a nice, safe low back for kind of recline pigeon or thread the needle, whatever you want to call it. So let's keep the left leg where it is and bring the right knee up, and it's going to externally rotate The ankle bone is hugging the outside of the left leg, kind of under where the knee is, at the bottom of the thigh or top, depending on your perspective. So we don't have under the ankle bone because that could kind of twist the foot in and extend some ligaments or strain them. So the bone is hugging, and we're going to flex the toes, especially the pinky side of the foot. Flex that up to protect the knee. So maybe you stay here, or if it's available, you can lift that bottom leg, and you're in charge. That bottom leg, however far it comes in, is how intense this stretch is going to be. So if you feel discomfort around your knee, come right out of it. Otherwise, you don't have to hold behind your left thigh, but if that's available and does not strain your neck or shoulders, you can do that. This is a nice pose to kind of put your foot on a chair or the wall. But you're flexing that pinky side of the foot on your toes. A few breaths here. You're in charge. We'll make our way out of this. Get both feet on the mat. Make sure your low back is happy where it is. And then we'll find something like that on the other side. Flexing your toes, either staying here, but we're not forcing the knee that's up in the air and bent in external rotation anywhere. If we try to push it away and force it, we could change what our low back and pelvis is doing. That could kind of twist up your base and your low back. And then you add a lift to it, and that's a little funky. So let your knee, just like tree and all that, let your knee be where it needs to be. And if available, lift up the bottom leg. Take a few breaths here. Noticing what's happening in your jaw and your eyebrows. Now's a chance, we're heading toward Shavasana to start softening. Start returning to our deep, even breath, just in case we lost that. When you're ready, we're going to release out of this and really like to take banana pose today. So we're going to extend. If you're not interested in banana, take whatever pose you think your body needs. That's fine. So banana, we're going to start kind of in something like Shavasana. So we're just going to extend the legs straight out from our hips and reach both arms overhead. So we're kind of in a line or a big ruler. Then we're going to go real slow and incrementally. So we're going to step the right leg out. So one leg's coming out. And then we're going to step the right arm out. So now the left side's in one line and the right side is out in like a V. And then we'll bring incrementally the left foot in towards our center line, and the right arm stretches in line in the center of our head, kind of above the center of our head. And then if available, you can inch that even closer so it's past our center line, and we start looking like a banana. So there's nowhere to go here. You can back off and make this the perfect crescent moon kind of thing, banana. Make this feel like a perfect side body opener, and just notice where you're feeling it. Are you feeling it everywhere or in one spot in particular? And back off to make it feel as good as it can. Then we'll find this on the other side. So incrementally, just little by little, stepping the left limbs back where they were. The right limbs come in, so now we're back in our long line. And then we'll do the same thing or something like it on the other side. So the left arm comes out, the right leg angles out. And then the right leg comes into our center line. And little by little, we find the opening that works for us. Maybe you see that one side is very different than the other side. Join the club. We are all the same. Back off as needed. Make this your perfect banana shape. Or maybe you're doing something more suited for you today. Just take another breath or two here. Softening wherever you can soften. And when you're ready, same thing, just little by little, inching your right arms back. Pull your left limbs back in. Arms come down to the side. And let's just take one more knees to chest position or something like it. Maybe you want to pull your knees out more towards your armpits this time. Whatever feels best. Now we're heading towards Shavasana, final resting position, which may look different for all of us. So some of us, like if you didn't choose banana, maybe you don't want to do Shavasana. Just letting everything relax, your limbs kind of fall away, toes fall away from each other maybe, palms turn up, arms in a V. Feel free to put blankets or pillows or anything under your knees or head, or lie on your side. It's your chance to relax and release. As you're entering Shavasana, I'll share my last quote from Bruce Lipton from The Biology of Belief. So he writes, "For billions of years, cellular living systems have been carrying out an effective peace plan that enables them to enhance their survival as well as the survival of the other organisms in the biosphere. Imagine a population of trillions of individuals living under one roof in a state of perpetual happiness. Such a community exists. It is called the healthy human body." And he ends that with, "I believe that the stresses of the increasing human population will be responsible for pushing us up another rung on the evolutionary ladder. We will, I believe, come together in a global community. The members of that enlightened community will recognize that we are made in the image of our environment. For example, that we are divine, and that we have to operate not in a survival of the fittest manner, but in a way that supports everyone and everything on this planet." I invite you, if you're interested, to start increasing your exhalation in whatever way works. So maybe you'd inhale to a count of 4 and exhale to a count of 8, or maybe 6 or 5. The point is to not strain or hold your breath, but to find a pattern that's working for you. Now I'll invite you to to bring all your attention that you can to the sound of this chime. Again, bring your complete awareness to the very last trace of sound from this chime. I'll just do that one more time, listening intently. So stay here in your resting position as long as you need to. I would just like to say thank you for joining me. Namaste. Hope to see you next time. Take care.